Amazingly, chums, His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, Prince William, was not told about this with regards to his younger brother, troublesome younger brother, people might say, the former royal known as Prince Harry. But now, according to my excellent source, all of that is about to change. As ever, let me explain.
What if one decision could quietly change everything for Harry and Meghan? Behind the scenes, Prince William is setting firm new rules, and they're not sitting well with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. The shift is subtle, but the impact is huge, placing the couple in a situation they didn't expect. This isn't just royal tension, it's a strategic move that could reshape everything moving forward. For years, the internal dynamics of the British monarchy have followed a very strict and traditional structure. Decisions, especially sensitive ones involving security, foreign travel, or anything that could impact the crown, flow upward to the monarch first. That has always been the case under Queen Elizabeth II, and it remains so under King Charles III. But what we're now seeing, according to growing reports and insider chatter, is a subtle yet significant shift in how authority is being handled, particularly when it comes to Prince William. At the center of this latest development is the controversial and highly publicized trip by Prince Harry to Ukraine. On the surface, it looked like a humanitarian or symbolic visit, something tied to his ongoing interest in veterans and global causes. But the deeper issue isn't the trip itself, it's how it was approved, who knew about it, and, more importantly, who didn't.
Well, I didn't, but I mean, I have heard it subsequently, but I think we have to be careful that there are so many rumours and counter-rumours, and there have been for such a long time now, that no one, I think, really knows the truth, only William and Harry and their spouses. So I think we have to be careful with what we believe and who we believe, that there's a lot of mischief being made in the media.
Traditionally, any travel of this nature involving a high-profile figure with royal connections would require layers of approval. Even though Harry is no longer a working royal, his status, security risk, and global recognition mean that his movements, especially to a conflict-adjacent region like Ukraine, cannot simply be treated as those of a private citizen. This is where the role of the British government comes in, particularly the Home Office, overseen by Yvette Cooper. From a procedural standpoint, such a trip would have required clearance, security coordination, intel, Legence assessment, and diplomatic awareness, and that clearance reportedly was granted. What has raised eyebrows, however, is that Prince William was not informed in advance. That absence is not just a minor oversight, it's symbolic. Because William is no longer just the heir in waiting. He is increasingly being positioned as an active operator within the monarchy. With Charles balancing health concerns and a demanding schedule, William's role has expanded quietly but steadily. He represents Britain at major global events, shapes internal strategy, and is expected to safeguard the long-term reputation of the crown. So when a figure like Harry, whose actions have repeatedly created tension within the family, undertakes a high-risk, high-visibility trip without William's knowledge, it disrupts more than protocol. It disrupts trust.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have returned from their unofficial tour of Colombia, but the 4-day visit has been, unsurprisingly, polarising. Joining us is Riley Sullivan, who's a brilliant reporter here at skynews.com.au. Riley, the Sussexes have just returned from another royal tour that's not a royal tour, this time to Colombia. How did the trip pan out?
Right, well, this trip was, as expected, very polarising, as you said. We saw Harry and Meghan travelling all over Colombia. They were accompanied by the Vice President, Francia Marquez. They went to Bogota, they went to Cali. They went to a place called San Basilio de Palenque, which is a historic town linked to slavery and the end of the slave trade, and so a very somber trip as well. It wasn't just, all fun photo op.
From William's perspective, the timing alone is problematic. The Ukraine visit reportedly took place just ahead of a major diplomatic tour involving the king. That creates a clash of narratives. On one hand, you have the monarch representing Britain on the global stage. On the other, you have a non-working royal drawing media attention in a politically sensitive region. Whether intentional or not, it divides focus, and in royal strategy, focus is everything. There's also the media element. The presence of a television crew, particularly from a major broadcaster, turns what might have been framed as a private or low-profile visit into a public spectacle. That raises questions about intent. Was this purely humanitarian, or was it, at least in part, about visibility, narrative control, and positioning? These are the kinds of questions William is reportedly no longer willing to ignore. Which brings us to the most important shift. Going forward, decisions like this may no longer bypass him. Insiders suggest that William is now being brought into the approval loop for matters that intersect with royal reputation, even if they technically fall outside traditional lines of authority. That's a major change. It effectively places him as a gatekeeper, not just of the future monarchy, but of its present image. For Harry, this could be a turning point. Up until now, he has operated in a gray zone. Not a working royal, but still carrying a title. Not officially representing the crown, but still benefiting from its legacy. That ambiguity has allowed him to move freely, to engage in global events, and to shape his own narrative without direct oversight from within the family. If William becomes part of the sign-off process, that freedom narrows.
What about Meghan and Harry? Because there are reports that Prince Harry, Meghan Markle and their children could be set to lose their royal titles if and when Prince William becomes monarch. Do you think that's what... Well,
I do. I really do feel it will happen, and I think it's important to note that it won't be a revenge play by William. It's very much a reforming play, because when he is King William V, when his father passes on, he's the monarch, he's more aware than anyone, I think, that the monarchy and the royal family have to provide value to the taxpayer and also the Commonwealth as well. That it's not, we don't just keep the royal family because we've always had the royal family. They very much have to prove their worth, and he wants to really push aside anyone who's been freeloading or using their titles for commercial gain. And we know the late Queen.
Because William's approach to the monarchy is fundamentally different. He is focused on control, discipline, and long-term stability. Where Harry often operates reactively, driven by personal projects, media opportunities, or individual causes, William operates strategically. Every move is measured against its impact on the institution, and right now, the institution is under pressure. Between ongoing fallout from past controversies, questions around relevance, and the evolving role of the monarchy in modern society, there is little room for unpredictability. William knows this. He has seen how quickly public perception can shift, and he understands that one poorly timed appearance, one conflicting narrative, can undo weeks of careful positioning. That's why this Ukraine situation matters more than it might seem at first glance. It's not just about a trip, it's about control, it's about authority, it's about who decides what happens next. The involvement of the government adds another layer. If ministers are approving movements for high-profile figures without aligning with the future head of the monarchy, it creates a disconnect. Whether intentional or not, it places political structures and royal strategy on separate tracks. And that's not sustainable in the long term. Because the monarchy, for all its ceremony and symbolism, still operates within a constitutional framework. The crown and the government must move in coordination, especially on issues that carry international visibility. What we may be witnessing now is the early stage of a recalibration. William stepping forward, not publicly, not dramatically, but procedurally, quietly ensuring that nothing slips through the cracks again, quietly positioning himself as the final checkpoint, quietly saying, "This is how it will work from now on." For Harry, that could mean fewer spontaneous appearances, fewer independently orchestrated trips, and more scrutiny over how his actions reflect on the family he has distanced himself from but cannot fully detach from. For the monarchy, it signals something else entirely, a transition already underway, not announced, not formalized, but real. Power in royal circles does not always shift through declarations. Sometimes it shifts through process, through who gets informed, through who signs off, through who has the final say. And if William is now part of that final say, then the balance has already changed. The message is simple, even if it's not being said out loud. The future king is no longer waiting. So what do you think? Are William's new rules a necessary move, or did they go too far this time? And how will Harry and Meghan respond to all of this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more royal updates you won't want to miss. See you in the next one.